All right, so to get things going, welcome back. I had a fun time on my 2 days off. Hopefully, you all did in your own ways. Peru, I don't know if you managed to play anything. I was talking with Jam Jam a bit. Seems like there was a character in mind. Dark Wolf was talking about it in Discord that she was getting to play some Breath of the Wild, and that seemed to spark an adventurous spirit in her. So we'll see how that goes. Uh-oh. Jam Jam getting into the planes. You get a +1 with disadvantage, 15 and 4. People were not supposed to know. No, Jam blew the cover. Aye, aye, aye. You nominated to play Skyrim? Well, I have a rig for it. We'll see. I'll finish the Diablo 3 story and maybe go from there. It's fun. I know there's an end game and all. I definitely, well, with the new stuff that came out in 14 as of today's patch, there's other stuff that I got to work on grinding, but I still do want to participate in what's going on in Diablo, and it's been years since I played that, and I just got into Act 2. So I'll finish that up, and maybe I'll move into something else, like Skyrim or whatever. We'll see. I have other things in my Steam library. I have Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. That would be a very interesting one, because that's sort of like a modern take in a different system. And it's still role-playing that actually the rule sets stay kind of true to the tabletop. It's very well done, in my opinion, having played a lot of Masquerade myself. Dark Wolf might play more Breath of the Wild tonight or tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, hey, work hard, then play harder. You can't enjoy the fun if there's that looming, sword of Damocles over you that there's work. Hey, thanks, Jose, and also welcome back. Hopefully you had a good, well, I had a good 2 days off. On Sundays, I run a 5th edition campaign, and on Mondays, I play Mage the Awakening 2nd edition. If I recall correctly, we talked a little bit about World of Darkness, didn't we, Jose? I know we talked about Paranoia. But anyway, hey, thanks for your compliment on the hat. Something to go over housekeeping-wise. Oh, okay. All right, Jose. A little bit of housekeeping with you all for the channel. As you may recall, the BTTV emotes are they're live and you can use them. Oh, Peru said no. Did some talks with my DM, but I fear what he has planned. There were talks of gods and demigods, and I don't normally go god, so there's a lot I'm going to have to read up. It's I mean, when you bring that level of player, that concept into a game, it really hey, thank you, Romonger. I really appreciate that. When you start bringing in the divine to the player level, it really shifts the focus, the opportunities, and the burdens for both the players and the storyteller. So I can understand that you might be a little hesitant, or you need to do some reading up, Peru. If there's anything I can help you plot or plan for, or things to consider, let me know. I've done content on that scale before, and maybe a validation or a precaution of some kind can help. Oh man. Oh, Dark Wolf, I'm sorry. And pardon me, this yawn isn't because it's boring or I'm tired. It's just, I gotta breathe. I forget to do that. When you're a vampire and you don't have to. I mean, what? I haven't uploaded Carrot Snake yet, Dark Wolf. In fact, that was something I wanted to bring up with you all, is that BTTV is incorporated into the channel. And there's also Discord, our Discord, which has some emotes. And also because of your all support through follows or subscriptions and bit donations and all this, I am an affiliate, which means that I get 3 different emotes for the different tiers of affiliate. And I wanted to discuss that with you all. Oh, pardon me. I wanted to discuss that with you all about some of the things that you'd like to see, or what you think might be a fun and creative emote. A lot of channels have, highs or like a Ohio or something like a Craigasm or things like that. And I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but why do we want to repeat the same thing that is done elsewhere? Instead, what are some unique things that our chats, our discussions, or our ideas spawn in your mind? What are, if we were to do some emotes, what would be ones that you would find useful or fun to use throughout the different broadcasts that happen here? I'm not looking for a comprehensive list right now, though it's something to throw out there, and if nothing else, this is a bit of, maybe it's a milestone. Because as this is getting recorded, it'll be stored as a VOD on Twitch for a while. It'll be up on YouTube a while after that. After tonight. We can go back and measure the progress, right? Here on 3/13/2018, what were we going to do? And then we can all laugh as like a year later or whatever. We have everything and going from there. Jose says, I saw a Geek and Sundry one-shot of Paranoia. It was pretty neat. It's a very interesting game, and you should expect to die, but it's okay because you have some backup clones. What do I think about downtime sessions? Do you mean in terms of, for your character, right, you have this kind of adventuring guild or this, dirty deeds done dirt cheap kind of an outfit? So instead of just having a session that focuses on chasing a criminal or capturing a bounty or something, that you guys just do your own sort of housekeeping, it's, a week in the life of kind of a thing, Rowmonger? Carrot Snake to broom closets. Yeah, something like an animated broom would be fun. If the players are having fun with it, and that's fine. The only, I guess you could say, danger that could come along with that is when it's Sten's turn and the spotlight goes on Sten, what is everyone else doing? Because the tendency is to, I don't need to pay attention really because Sten has this, or this is kind of a, there's nothing really out of the ordinary that's going to happen. And so suddenly heads start going like this. Oh, yeah. No. That's cool. I think Sten would totally do that. Good joke. What? Oh, can you repeat that? Oh, yeah. Sure, that's fine. And so that would be the danger, I think, Rowmonger, that's involved, is that when everyone who's present isn't involved in some way, that it becomes a distraction for some or a bore for others. And it's not that they don't want to, they may not even want to look discourteous, but how long, of a session, especially if you do some, marathon ones, if it's your character's spotlight time, should I just sort of sit here and, smile and nod for 2 hours while I'm not even rolling dice? I have no input or things like that. If you're doing it in pairs, that's a little bit more efficient, I guess. But then there's two of you making decisions, and how many other people in the rest of the party who then start going, oh, yeah. Yeah, you two, I would do the same thing. Mm-hmm. So that's really up to you all. If you're having fun, or if you do a downtime session, you can do things maybe through text or through a message board, maybe through a Discord, and you can do behind the scenes things then. But it's kind of, if you're doing this the main feature, right? Everyone has their time off. They went out of their way to get together. You all threw in for pizza or whatever, or you made some delicious poke / ceviche like you were showing in the Discord channel. Then people come to play, not to just sit around and have it be, the X show, the YZ, or the Y show or the Z show. So for individual stuff, downtime stuff, depending on the nature of it, I would talk to your DM and say, well, these are my background projects, and can we side RP this? That way, you know the measure of things, and if it becomes relevant, you can narrate it or you can weave it into someone else. But this way, and I'm not picking on you, Ro/Sten, but this way, Sten isn't taking up the spotlight and denying everyone else at the table time to adventure, chase down the criminal, use their own skills, things along those lines. Hopefully that makes sense, and it came across as not a no, but a no but, or a yes, just think about it this way instead. We did the downtime session for like an hour, stuff happened. Well, every group is going to be different. I can only give you the general warning about what can happen in the broad terms that we're discussing. Pardon. Yeah, you know, for some reason my my headphones have been geeking out a little bit. It's been a little aggravating. So if you hear, I don't know if it comes through, but if you hear some random bleeps and bloops, that's it deciding to reset on its own. It's rather frustrating, and I don't know if I need to return them or what's going on with them. Yeah, Ro, you know, Discord, and you can even use, well, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it might seem a little bit more archaic, but I would even recommend getting a Pro Boards. You can get you should be able to get still a free Pro Boards, and you can just set up the forum to, you know, to be where everyone gets together and posts things. It's up to you. But having that side interaction is great. You know, you all sign, you know, on Discord or whatever, you all have your character names, and you can have full RP sessions and conversations, and you can, you know, whisper to each other and do all this. And that way everything is set up. So when you go to your session, you're hitting the ground running, or the airship flying, whatever you're doing, and you are ready to go. You're ready to all bring together your different talents and strengths and help each other cover your weaknesses in order to overcome whatever the greater goal is going to be. Oh, the airship plans were stolen. Do you know by whom, or are they just missing? Now, something else real quick to bring up, and don't stop the conversation in chat, because this is why we get together. Is I want to talk to you all here more than, I mean, I like doing this stuff, and I think you all like seeing the random fun things that we can do here. Though ultimately what matters the most is you all over here. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to use this, maybe not this week, but I did want to run it past you that there are different homebrew style character sheets, things that may be more efficient, or they just might meet your aesthetics a little bit more. And this is one such sheet that combines a couple different ideas, and this is kind of a cheat sheet score at what it is. For instance, here's armor class, but if you use a shield, then you can put in the new number down here instead of it only having the one up above. There's more weapon slots. Also for cantrips, you can put your cantrips here, since those are infinite use attacks for wizards and such. And it's just a little bit more. It's a little bit more reduced. Your worn gear you can equip to your character here, a little bit more visually. So this is something that maybe we can end up using, if this intrigues you. If you'd like to see something along these lines. So, though for tonight, we're gonna go back to this one, and as oh yeah, Babacus, it was a very interesting one that I had found, and there's a form fillable version up here, and I figured that this could be something we could incorporate if it comes across well to you all, if it seems like it's a little bit more elegant or efficient, or it just has a cool factor. Jose says, I have a player who's an addict, but they are on an almost uninhabited island. I'm having trouble on how easy or hard to make it for him to get his fix. For now, he's got a stash of booze. So this is the... so, Jose, do you mean by that, then, that this person is an alcoholic, and so they have their last little dregs of rum, and then you're going to have to wonder about how to impose that? Or what is the situation that you're going through, or that you're seeking a little bit of advice on? Because I might be able to help you through that. Rose says, Sten met her foil. She's the one who stole... And that's a nice character sheet. Now, so you do like that one? Well, maybe what I can do is we'll make it on the traditional one, because I haven't practiced on this one yet. And there is a fourth sheet, by the way, if you have a companion of some kind. So if you do, like, I don't know, you're a beast master ranger, or let's say you have a favorite form as a druid. It's not a companion, but if you like being a bear, then you can put in the bear stats here, and this is your, your altered form, something like that. Some background stuff, character background, and then all the personality traits and everything get moved to the second page. Which, is that a plus? Is that a minus? This first page is way more crunchy. There's a lot more crunch to it than this. In using this, remember, we kind of fill out the border right along the top and then the bottom, and then that helps us fill in here. And then once we've completed the character, once we've completed the silhouette, we then fill the character inwards and develop them that way. Though, we can always try this and give it a go. I'm not afraid to try new things here. Well, Ro, by the way, as for your foil, hopefully your DM can develop that into something interesting, whether she becomes a villainess or a rival or a frenemy, or, oh geez, there's different layers that this can go. Maybe she's a red herring. Maybe she's a patsy for someone else who's bigger and badder. Enjoy. It sounds like your DM seems to have a pretty good way of storytelling, so pursue it and go from there. Jose says no, he's on drugs. Hold on, work, BRB. All right. Well, hey, when you're back, Jose, we can talk a little bit more about this. Hey, Kitty on Paper, welcome. And if anyone is new here, Kitty on Paper is also known as Peru says, it seems the party was TPK'd while I was out of town, but my guy didn't die and he's trying to continue the story. It's interesting and all, but they are starting over at 4, so I'll be a bit OP. I was told that I was to hide my level for fear of being beaten by a demigod. Well, what level are you right now? Peru? And I guess to that, why, if it's that much of a difference, why does your DM want there to be that level discrepancy? While we're having these conversations, I'm going to hit some of these dice rolls so we can start filling in the basics of our brand new character. I will obviously be paying attention to the chat here and responding to you as we go along. You can talk about what's happening at your own tabletop as a DM or as a player. You can talk about your characters. For instance, is here. Hey, and speaking of people being here, it's Clark is here. Welcome, welcome. It's I will smack. We have a D100 to determine gender or a multi-class character. 3, our first character of the week of the new campaign is going to be a female. A female what? That's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that. We're going to hit this. This is a female 8. And of the 8, is it subrace 1 or 2? It's going to be subrace 1 because it was an odd number. There we go. Alignment, we're going to roll 2d100 for each axis of the alignment chart. 38, 37. That's going to be in the good section. Probably... it might be just a tad outside of... might just be a tad outside of lawful good. So we might have a neutral good character here. Level is going to be a percentile. So we're going to change that to a 1 and hit roll. This is going to be a 24. Then we're going to determine, does this character use feats or ability stat increases, or ASIs? 66, I think that's going to be in the realm of at least 1 feet. I'm going to put a placeholder down here. That way we can just go through the numbers and we'll fill it in a little bit later. Aha, now we get to a very important question. Which class is she? Roll a d12. We're going to be class 2. That is going to be a bard, and there's a d2 archetype. So this is going to be odds or evens. Let's hit a d12 again. Odds. This is going to be archetype 1. Lastly, well, not quite lastly, we have a 13, which is our background. Let's hit it. This is going to be background number 7, and we'll get to that and see real quick if there's anything else that we need to do for there. Last thing are some of the random rolls for height, weight, and age. Though we won't need this first page anymore. Let's scroll down and start filling in some information. Clark says, I won't be here too late. I have a test at 8 a.m. Oh, is this going to be in a history class of yours, Clark? Or is it will it be French history? Or something else? An elective, kind of a, first aid or something to fill in for a credit hour or so? Kitty says, grammar got a little better. She can now can I instead, Jose says, I guess I'm just looking for ideas on how to give him access to it without making it too easy. He has a botanist kit, so I was planning to let him learn how to make it. So the question is then, Jose, if you want this character to continue with this flaw of drug addiction, is this even possible on a remote desert island? I mean, if you just have like a patch of grass and a coconut tree, it would be very difficult to manufacture an opioid, for example, or something similar. Or is there a tropical medicinal herb that this character is addicted to, and that actually is quite bountiful here? Otherwise, you can use this as an opportunity to go through the struggle of of overcoming addiction, of, going through withdrawal and, learning a lesson and being a better character for it. I'm not saying either one is the right way to go, because we all have tales of redemption, falling, good, evil, vice and sin, and improvement and esteem. As well, don't forget that items in kits can break, can get lost, can be consumed. So that's going to be something else to think about. How is this drug, if it's harvestable, if the raw ingredients are harvestable, how is it manufactured? How is it made? It might be good for the first 100 doses, but after a while, that mortar and pestle might start cracking or breaking down, or a storm might occur and blow away some things. Fermented coconuts. I mean, it's like a coconut rum in that case. Clark, psychology, using it as an elective. Psychology, by the way, is excellent for role-playing. It helps you understand moods and minds. Were you around, Clark, when we were going over the dungeon episode and I brought up Maslow's hierarchy of needs? If so, that is a psychological approach to D&D that you can take as a DM especially. Though if you want to play a compelling character, it's good to be able to get into the mind of that character. And if this character acts in ways that you don't, it's important to be able to learn what are the behaviors that are out there. Why do people behave in certain ways? You'll be a richer DM or PC for taking something like psychology. Clark says, no, I thought it might be able to help me with my own issues. So you answered Ro. That could very well be too, for self-improvement. Just don't fall into the trap of self-diagnosing, which seems to happen to a lot of, I mean, I'm not saying you're like a pre-med student by taking a psych class, but that's something that a lot of people who start looking into psychology and physiological, disorders to become someone who can address them, or at least is aware of them. Suddenly the world starts opening up to you and you're like, oh no, I think this way. And do I have this or that? What do we have? Ooh, chatty chat. That's good though. Keep it up. Rose says, I brought up concerns about the evil party ripping itself apart. DM's response was, you're anti-heroes, you'll be fine. Okay, well, that's you were responsible by bringing that up, and if your DM is already taking that into consideration, just Just bear in mind then, if he's trying to run you as anti-heroes or you're trying to be anti-heroes yourself, that you're aware of what an anti-hero is. Pardon. Still dumb though. Bubonic. Hey, I nearly got your spreadsheet done. Yeah, I was gonna, by the way, Bubonic, I'm glad that you're in here because I was looking for it earlier and I could have sworn that I downloaded it because I wanted to use it this week, and I would probably make a couple little adjustments only to the statistical side of things. But yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, Bubonic, so that I can start using that as a way to start integrating other aspects. Just like when we started the session here, there's an alternate form fillable sheet that maybe I could start using for what we're doing. Peru, level 17. Not sure. He's trying to out ideas. I think he will agree with me once he starts working it out. Just start fresh. Want to carry what we failed at over. That's cool. City is a monster den or something. Sweet, but rarely have I seen a level difference where... Yeah, Peru, especially 17 to 4. While things like statistically your abilities won't be there, but you'd be operating on a different level of wealth and items, and it's not impossible. It will just be a lot more difficult, and it will be, for both the PCs and the DM, I just don't know if that will be enjoyable. Your character can certainly, I don't know, be maybe moved to the side, be made into an NPC, is still existent in the world, and your party can run into your character, and that might be fun. But I just don't see a 17 rolling around with a bunch of 4s in a mechanical, out of character sense, and have it be particularly entertaining or, balanced. Dark Wolf, I didn't get much better. You're working on it. She's hard to teach. Oh, for right. Take classes with can't say name. Hey, Macabre Derek. I'm sorry. I'm catching up in chat because you guys are just all pistons, sharing your stories, what happened over the kind of over the weekend. The goods and bads, the things that are going on. So thank you for being a part of what we're. Oh, the discussion about role playing in a D&D stream. I don't know why it's a rarity. I know a lot of people in the D&D channel like to play on Roll20 and go from there. Though we'll be, what we do here is exactly what you're experiencing. We're sharing stories, we're asking questions, we're helping each other out. And there's some fun mini games in here too. But yeah, Derek, please hang around. You can make commentary on what we're doing on screen, and I'm giving priority to the chat and the stories that we're sharing here. But this is... Consider us all sitting around a great big table in a game store, and we're all just being nerds together of different skill levels. Some of us are longbeards, some are new bloods, others are, they're somewhere in between. So hop in and have fun, because that's what we're about here. Jose was talking about a character he's running for that has a drug addiction and is abandoned on an island. It's a big island, and there are some plants that have the property to be drugs or magic users are properly processed. Oh, coconut moonshine. Del Corin. Hey, welcome, Del. Okay, so Bubonic shared the link for our Discord. If you are new in here, please join us on Discord. There's a couple different channels. We've revamped things, and we'll be getting some special icons or avatars in there since we just linked up BTTV, and everything is between Twitch and Discord is now kind of jived. So yeah. Follows, bits, subscriptions, all that stuff is helping to make the channel continue to grow as we talk about role-playing, we talk about storytelling, we challenge ourselves and not just fall to, what's the maximum DPR we can squeeze out of something. We're talking about concepts and ways to get around solutions. Or instead of just saying no as a DM, say no but, or yes under these conditions. Okay, what else did we have here? Okay, so Bubonic was sharing that on Discord, and I can start using that because that was, from what you showed me, Bubonic, a little bit more efficient than what I have here. And by a little bit, I mean a lot more. I like your idea of overcoming the challenge. Might go that way. Yeah, and so, Jose, you can run that as a skill challenge. If you're not sure what a skill challenge is or how to do it, let me know, and I can give you a premise. But that would be a good way for your character. Maybe your character indulges, right? Because it's a good compelling force to explore the island. If he's looking for this leaf or this plant or a coconut or something, then you can describe things. And then suddenly the realization is, I can't live like this anymore. I'm going to self-destruct, or, you know, something bad might happen. And then this brings the character on a compelling story of redemption, overcoming addiction. You do this skill challenge in order to physically, mentally, spiritually challenge this character. And, you know, when help maybe eventually arrives, this other character is going to be a changed man or woman, will, you know, redeem himself if he's a fallen paladin or something along those lines. Clark says, I studied Maslow's hierarchy and needs last semester. Well, hey, fundamentals, right? We're right on the bottom. We're on the core level of psychology. Let's see. Would be worried if the players are aware of how to play evil in a group dynamic. You know, actually, Derek, we did last week. We created characters randomly and we strung them together in campaign. There was not a single good character in the group. At best, they were neutral. At worst, they were evil. And it was very interesting. It put a whole new dynamic on how to approach a campaign, and it was kind of an advanced lesson, because it takes a good player to run an evil character. Romonger, yeah, Clark, people tend to take those classes to find out what's wrong with themselves, and I did. No, I took a philosophy class in undergrad, and that helped out as well. Okay, Bubonic, I see that you said that it was done. We'll get to there. Peru. Okay, you're gonna pitch that to him. You'd say Gandalf was a level 17 plus, or yeah, that's a good scale. Gandalf was a 17 plus wizard running around with a bunch of level 4s. Which, by the way, back in first, second edition, being like a dwarf or an elf, that was a race and a class together. Like, you were a dwarf and not a dwarven cleric or a dwarven wizard. That kind of a thing. Bubonic says, I call myself a gray hair, not a long beard, but it's a good analogy, yeah. Strider would have been a 14 plus, Bubonic is saying. Peru draws from the deck of many things. Hey, the sun, and you get, you know what, Peru, unless you've done it later, you got your magic dagger back, it seems like. Kitty on Paper, aka says, in a ranting mode, says, I think if people are evil, they're not born that way, so don't hate them for their lack of good parenting or giddiness. Everyone is just suffering, and some I have not come to the full realization of their flaws, or worse, do now believe they are. Learning more about people and how they become give you an understanding, and so you'll feel better, because you can't hate. Care, you feel sorry, you learn. Psychology, if you figure it out and feel better with your knowledge. Bubonic, although still wouldn't have stood a chance against the Balrog. Derek is saying, currently playing a Priestess of Lolth. Ooh. Works perfectly in the good neutral. Okay. So drow, neutral, evil, okay, noble background, and a trickster. Trickster clerics are fun. I love the concept, and I would love to be able to play one sometime. But cleric is great because it's flexible, right? You can go like a rogue cleric. With the trickster domain, you can have what was called like the Mystic Thurge in 3rd edition, like a blend of wizard and cleric. If you go the knowledge domain, and that way you're getting a little, not necessarily an arcane infusion, but you're the more learned cleric, the wizardly cleric. Jose says, I have no idea what a skill challenge is. Okay, so I'm almost caught up, and I'll tell you what that is, Jose. Kitty's agreeing, good major. Derek says the problem is building a good character and making them interesting. Well, you know what, Derek? Stick around, and as we make these characters, as we pull random elements out of the ether and tie them together, you might be able to find some compelling ideas. Jose says, but I do plan to use this as a way to make them go to a place I want them to visit. Okay. Yeah, you can kind of lead them by the nose, or whatever it uses to consume the inebriant. Neutrals are somewhat easy to roleplay. It's like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, sure, I'm not doing anything today. Peru. Oh, yeah, Peru says, yes, Magic Dagger is back. Kitty on Paper. Wait, not in awe voice. Oh, okay, I thought you were still in, because you were ranting, you're still in awe mode, Kitty. No one will take me seriously. Okay, well, Kitty, there you go. In a parallel universe, it was awe ranting and not you. You think it worked, though? Rose says, but I will say that the party is going to Oh, he's going to the game version of World's Fair. Ooh, hopefully you have a fun invention. By the way, Romonger, if you haven't seen it, watch the anime called Steam Boy. Steamboy, all one word. Watch Steam Boy. And I think you'll find a ton of really good inspiration. And the movie itself is very well done, very beautifully animated, and all about that steampunk. You can go edgy teen and go grave cleric like I did. I actually had one in my 5th edition campaign, and it's nice because it's death without being like the creepy, like just without being the creeper kind of a thing. It's there's a natural end, and all things end, and I want to make sure that I'm sending them off and going from there. Derek says, well, it's because I took exception to no one playing Drow as actual Drow. They instead took the abilities and look, but basically threw away the culture and say, I'm not evil, but couldn't fill in the void with other parts that would explain how they came to understand the world and their priorities the way that they do. Aha. So, they bought the shell of a Porsche, but they didn't purchase the engine to put in it. And so instead, it seems like you're feeling they kind of put in like a little 4-cylinder, thing that sips gas. It looks shiny, it looks sharp, and everyone's going to say, "Oh man, you're driving a Porsche." But are you really if you just have, something like that in there? Oh, I got smart in an instant. Boo. Bobicus, that's good advice. Every character does tend to become interesting after enough sessions, right? Because everyone weaves together and influences each other. Jose says, I love playing true neutral. I think about it as a character that does whatever he wants as long as it benefits. That's at that point then it's the internal check, Jose, because otherwise you're that's more of an evil selfishness. So that I get what you're saying, though then it just comes to your line in the sand as a individual. Derek says, I find if I'm not in love from the concept from the jump, it just goes completely south for me. And so Derek, by the way, Bobicus has some good experience to share, and he's a very good conversationalist in here. So yes, I am your host in the channel, but please, all of you, talk amongst each other, share your stories, ask questions even among each other. Some more alignment here immediately pops up at the table. Oh, he nailed it in one description? Okay, well, I'm glad, Derek. Okay, while you guys are talking about alignment and about, Derek brought up a good point. That sometimes it's easy, you just want the look, but you want the form, but you don't want the function, or you don't understand the function. So, do you deserve to wear the clothes kind of a thing. While you guys are discussing that, I did tell Jose that I would inform him what a skill challenge is. So you all please continue this talk about alignment and everything. I'm going to narrate a bit about what a skill challenge is. And then, we have our side project here of just some random character generation to get us thinking, to get us maybe even employing some of the topics that you're talking about right over here. And you'll see them come alive in front of us. So Jose, a skill challenge is something that was formalized in 4th edition. And it is, think like death saving throws, right? If you fail X amount of times, well, in that case, it's 3 before Y amount of times, then you die, right? Well, in a skill challenge, it's something similar. You can run a combat using a skill challenge instead of combat rules. In this case, boom, here's our stats. Here's what we're looking at. And so if you want to take the party or the character on an adventure, then instead of just providing travelogue and narrating along the way, you break it up into several parts and you say, okay, you're on the beach, you just washed up, you're getting that itch in the back of your head. What are you doing? And your character might say, oh, I want to build a hut, right? Because it's basic survival. You say, okay, so roll survival. And you're setting an arbitrary threshold for how difficult you think it is, and paying attention, does the character deserve advantage or disadvantage? And then you record it down, and you say, all right, so you built the hut, and then what's the next thing you're doing? What's the next thing you're doing? And what you're doing is you're actually giving the power of narration to the player using the results of these skills to act as little guide points. So it's not just oh, well, I'm going to go find this leaf and process it and then, go from there, because that's really easy. There's still an element of loss, of risk. And so what you say is, all right, so I want him, what we'll do is if he gets 6 successes on the way to find the plant before 3 failures, then he will have reached the goal, and maybe you do it as a milestone and level him up, or if you use experience points, you can do that. Maybe there's an extra reward. If he fails, then maybe that triggers an encounter. It doesn't mean he dies or anything, but maybe that just actually triggers an encounter that you can't get out of through narrative, creative thinking, things like that. And that way, it's compelling your PC to wear the mask of his or her character, and imagining what this person would do in those situations. You have some dice rolls to mix it up, because hey, not everything's successful, and as long as you're not making things impossibly hard. If there's a level 4 character and you're like, yeah, a 25 to make a grass hut, like, okay, come on, like, do you want him to fail or her to fail? So find something that's appropriate and present it that way instead. It's narrative, it's core storytelling, and you don't have to worry about distractions of something, because let's say there's some natives on the island, or there's wild boar, like dire boar or something. You can still narrate a combat and only use skills. Or it could turn into like a thing from Predator, right, where he's setting traps for the predator that's stalking him, or things along those lines. You don't. It doesn't always have to break down there. So hopefully, Jose, that was a good idea to think about and to implement. So just set DCs for things. Say, okay, if my player attains X successes before Y failures, then the scene has, like, let's think theatrical, right? The scene has been completed, and there will be a reward of some kind. And maybe if your character has exceptional successes, got boom, six successes and no failures, maybe you give something extra. Let's say they completely wash out and their first 3 are just fail. That might be a speed bump in your narrative, but it's a role play opportunity, right? Bob Ross says there's no mistakes, they're happy accidents. Bad stuff in tabletop games, even PC death, are role-playing opportunities. And it doesn't have to be contrived. It doesn't have to be, just kind of, oh, well, death is worthless because of whatever. If you take that view, the table will remain positive, your game culture will remain positive, and you will find that there's a lot more creativity put into it, because you as a DM are allowing for failure, and you're respecting the skills of your players at your table when you present them with failure and ask, what are you going to do about it, instead of just saying, you're off the island. Oh, okay. Ooh, I missed a lot here. So Delcorin was watching, and we're still talking about characterization and alignment. Going back into some history, I see Bigby's name being dropped. Derek mentioned that he is making like a thesis almost. It was sounding like on Yuan-ti purebloods and their psychology. Because, yeah, people do things for reasons. What would compel someone to do something that maybe we consider to be evil? The vast majority of villains, as I've said time and again in this channel, the vast majority of your villains aren't going to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and go, yes, what evil things can I do today? Okay, so Derek wants to get this quintessential Yuan-ti pureblood adventurer. I can't do it immediately, Derek, but if you wanted to stick around, even like if you come back tomorrow, I can take a little bit of extra time and bring up my old notes for how I was running Yuan-ti, and maybe we can sit down with others here. Though it sounds like you're already getting some feedback in it. Maybe I can help give you some ideas too. But I super appreciate you bringing that up and asking those questions. Why do people act the way that they do? Clark's talking about his rogue kind of being indecisive, probably because we're discussing neutrality, right? Bubonic with a quote about neutrality. Dark Wolf, speaking of skill checks, I have a question. If someone lost a skill check, for example, using nature to see if something is safe to eat or drink, would they be able to check again the next turn? Not really, Dark Wolf. You'll find many DMs will say you tried and you don't know any better. Your character does not know if he or she failed. Think about it. If you found a mushroom, you're walking through a park and you found a mushroom and you look at it, and you're like, oh, I read a book on this. Poisonous ones were, were they red and white or white and red? And then you look and you're like, oh, I think this is red and white. It should be safe. And you eat it. Well, you don't know that you made the mistake because in all earnesty, you scoured your resources. It's just that your character didn't find that out. So many DMs will say that no, your check is your check. You as a character do not know if you succeeded or failed. Yeah, they don't repeatedly try for rerolls. The hard part's playing emotion, but giving hints that it's a ruse. Okay, so again, that conversation. And Delcorin is going on a stroll through the forest. Speaking of looking for mushrooms, a troll pops out instead of a delicious toadstool. Maybe you can eat troll. They certainly don't like fire. Can he do it? He needs a 12 or greater. You attack normally with a +3. He rolls 18 plus 3 is 21. The reverse of 12, and Delcorin wins 100 EXP. There you go. Nice. Oh yeah, the reptilian conspiracy theory, and yeah, that's are you being true to yourself if you're if you're doing it that way? That's a good perspective, Derek. Good and evil are points of view. That is true. A lawful good character and a kind of a strict and or bird's eye sense of view is going to be, evil in another land. He could have used that 18 a couple nights ago. Yeah, that one evening, I don't think you're having a lot of luck. And let's not even bring King into this. Poor King. Even the thought of it being a rabbit is terrifying for him. Okay, yep, no problem, Dark Wolf. I'm glad I was able to answer that for you. Uh-oh, and so Delcorn is moving up in rank. Look at that. It's more of a case I'm focusing on the Yuan-Ti, not the class right now. Okay, yep. And doing it that way, Derek, if you set it up that way and you're explaining to people and you're able to put, we can talk conceptually, like especially for if there's a couple long beards or whatever gray hairs as as Bubonic was saying are in here. We can talk concept and culture and all of this, but sometimes it's better just to, to make an effigy of it, to make a totem out of it. We can talk about the nature of. We can talk about the nature of actually, I have one here of earth elementals. But if I put this one in front of you, we'll have the exact same conversation, but it's going to be a lot easier for people to focus on this because now it's a little bit more human, and we're attaching our own human logic to something that's arguably only humanoid at best. Ro is going into the dungeon. Oh, actually, Dell was going into the Underdark before then. Not silence. What you answer? It's an Elithid. You need a 17 or greater. You attack with disadvantage. Oh, 7 and 19. Delcorin has his brain sucked out of his skull. Oh, goodness, Delcorin. You might need a res, please, for that, Del. Romonger goes into the dungeon. Not quite the Underdark yet. You need a 13 or greater. You attack normally with a +2. 10 plus 2 is 12, and oh no, Romonger poison dart to the neck falls down, and that is the end of that quest. Oh, really? BBC is reporting Stephen Hawking died. Oh, if that's the case, I thought just recently he had some kind of a big announcement, Clark. I don't know, some additional discovery and did you step into that dart's path now? Yeah, it's in my butt. Or I like thinking about Ace Ventura 2. If you saw that movie, when he gets the darts also, and he starts like it paralyzes him, and he's just running kind of loose armed, and he gets one in the neck, and he's like, "Oh, too many darts." Or the spears in the leg, and he just goes, "Ah, ah, ah." Prue's trying to grind some EXP on random monsters. Rip Monster. Yep, they're trying to get the remnants of their shattered culture, developing knowledge. And you know, Derek, if you're a Lovecraftian fan, you can tie the Yuan-Ti into kind of great old ones, and you could even pursue like Gulaks with Yuan-Ti in that regard as well. I mean, any of the warlocks would work, but more flavorful might be a Gulak. Oh, it does seem legit. Sorry, that's on a side note. Okay. Hey, I'm freaking kitty out. I said to this out loud. What? I said to this out loud. You responded pretty on time. Oh, well. Bubonic says I still prefer sci-fi RPGs. Oh, trust me, I'm a horror GM by trade. You want to talk horror? I'm your guy. This isn't just about D&D. We talk about D&D a lot in here. It was last session, especially with Jose. If Jose is still in here, we brought up paranoia. We were talking a little bit about World of Darkness, and I was talking about an Assamite vampire that I played. Um, Derek, I prefer World of Darkness myself. I play in a Mage the Awakening 2nd Edition on Mondays, and that's why I don't broadcast. I run D&D 5e on Sunday for a personal group, and then I play as a Mage on Monday. Oh, Derek, you might have found this Assamite very fun. Oh, and Ro wants to try Shadowrun. Shadowrun would be very good for you, I think, Romonger. Hey, and I caught up on chat too. You guys are slacking. No, but seriously, the chat is on fire tonight. I love it. You guys are putting out great ideas. Derek, certainly welcome to the chat and the conversation. You're making, you want to learn how to swim, you jump in the water. Well, you're in the deep end, my man. And it's it's great. This is quick spam chat. No, no. Oh, I got you, Del. And if anyone thinks I'm going crazy talking to Del Corin, I just have psychic powers, right? Hey, Hut Spa, I got a 12 in. I got a 12 in it. A 12 in what though? Yeah, we're casting message back and forth is effectively what that boils down to. Derek says, I'm thinking of basing it off of Testament Brotherhood of the Snake. I'm not too familiar with that, so I unfortunately on that specific thing I can't really give you a direct comment, Derek. Jose's going on a stroll through the plains. Is it a rabbit? Nay, nay. 'Tis a knoll pack that jumps out. You need an 8 or greater, but you're attacking at disadvantage, adding a +1. So, Jose, that's going to be an exclamation point 2d20, and we're going to take the lowest, add 1 to it, and see if you succeed. Anyone name the game where Hutzpah is an actual stat? I don't know. Sounds kind of like maybe Rifts or something, Bubonic. Rifts has a lot of interesting side stats. Side note, after I'm done running Curse of Strahd, I'm thinking of running a campaign in the setting of Innistrad. Yeah, if I recall correctly, Magic, I mean, it's the same company, through Wizards. They put out a lot of sort of like D&D variant on the different locations, especially with this last one where everyone's kind of pirates going island hopping and looking for treasure. There's a lot of splat content that fuses Magic the Gathering elements into D&D. Jose rolls 2d20, 7 and 15. 7 plus 1 is 8, so you overcome the null pack, Jose, just barely, even at disadvantage. Yeah. $125 for you. Misty Step is too far away, and I don't want to share my pizza, so I'm using message. That's fine. You probably don't want any guacamole or anything, Del. It's kind of repellent for you. And I convinced my wife to cosplay. Okay, so Ro, were you going to do 9S or 2B, and which one was she doing? Oh, okay. So, Derek, Serpent's Eyes, always watching you without a trace. The Covenant of the Snake, coming into your fate. They've been watching you. Fish, Shapeshift Eyes, and Sumerian Disguise. Huh. Lyrics. Okay, gotcha. Kitty says, stare at fire because we're still at the campfire. Yep. Jose, there was that +1 modifier in there, so you just squeaked it in. Nice. See, you have a story now. You go back to you go back to your local village, and you can say, "Oh, the null pack jumped out, and it was looking pretty bad there for a while, but I just managed to get the upper hand." Sten hands, marshmallow on a stick. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to fill in some of the random rolls that we that we made earlier. So we had a female race number 8, which is Half-Orc. And sub-race 1 for that is that she favors her orcish side. Female Half-Orc favors orcs. Her class is a bard, College of Lore. And we rolled a 24, meaning that we are level 6. Her alignment, by the way, we rolled a 66. Its stat bumps only to 7, so that she's not going to have a feat, but she was probably really considering it in school. Whoa, Del Corin, thank you. And he says guacamole was invented by Strahd. So it'd be Stradamole. That actually sounds kind of good, doesn't it? Maybe it's guacamole and it has like some red peppers in it to kind of look like, like a little blood drip. But cool, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Maybe what I can do is not buy guacamole with those bits, and I'll get something tasty instead that you would agree with. Derek says, I actually find struggle with more funny slapstick games. Apparently I do comedy well, but I just can't find the enjoyment in the game when I'm making everyone else smile. Clark says, I just realized we're making another lore bard tonight. Yeah, hey, yeah, that, bubonic. Oh, okay, I'll get to that in a second. Bubonic, eats everything, even the stick. Oh. I'll look to Ra. Get excited. Ra. Tell them the story of us. Soraya, not how you pronounce my name. Macabre says, currently the bard I play in Pete and Jeremy's D&D time is based on Paul Heyman from WWE, and he is an advocate for the whole party. Everyone else enjoys it except me. Well, I don't know. What do you think you could do to make it more enjoyable for you? Or does anyone else, like Bubonic or Bobicus, do you guys have any input on how to help bring a smile to Derek's face? Just tell story. Guacamole is Barovian for salsa. Oh, and Romonger says, I have a feeling once we get an airship, our D&D campaign will turn into Steampunk Firefly. That may very well be, as PCs find themselves with more modes of transportation, be it teleportation spells or horses than wagons, than teleportation and airships and whatnot. The game scale shifts greatly. Soon you'll be flying around the verse addressing problems. And Sarai is going to tell the story of Ah. Alignment is 38-37, so we're definitely within good, and we did miss out on law a little bit, so we are going to be neutral good. And what else? We got College of Lore. Don't have to worry. Background 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, a Hermit. Hermits do have some kind of an origin, which is going to be a D8. And then we have our usual spread of personality traits, ideals, etc. So let's roll that first. We're going to roll a D8 for the what kind of a hermit she is. An 8. Okay, so we'll keep that. Then we're going to roll 2d8 for personality traits. We have a 4 and a 5. Then we're going to roll 3d6 for the other parts of her background. 4, 1, and 6. There we go. Lastly, we're going to roll Half-Orcs. Start at 4'10", and we're adding 2d10 inches. We're going to add 11 inches. So she is 4'22" tall. We're going to take the same modifier of 11 and multiply it by 2d6 pounds. 6. We're adding 66 pounds, so she is 206 pounds. There we go. We did it. Percentile for where in the age, in her life cycle she is. 15, so she's not a child prodigy, but she is a young adult. And half-orcs live a life approximately like humans. So we can use the human reference here for young adulthood, 16 to 25. We'll roll a d10 and add it. 6. She's 22 and already a hermit. So Sarai's going to tell a story, kind of sitting around the campfire with awe. Derek says, it's more of a case that speed really isn't mine. I prefer horror. I love the stress. I love the intricacy, the development of a character, the building of a party, and the situation and personal connection with the NPCs. And that character doesn't really do that. For less serious slapstick games, that just doesn't happen. It tends to be a few bars above just tabletop games. Okay. Oh, and it makes you feel stupid. Oh. Pardon. She's apparently grain-fed as well. Out of curiosity, Derek, would you consider something like Dark Heresy or Rogue Trader to be horror games? Sci-fi, a little bit of both? Okay, so these are done, and we're going to start with our background because that's going to give us some proficiencies and tools and whatnot that we don't want to have be redundant with the race and the class. So let's start here and go to Hermit. These are alphabetically listed, so it should be up here soon. G and H. Here we go. Delcorin says, my backstory is that I'm a Lightfoot Halfling Ranger folk hero with amnesia, so I don't remember anything other than my abilities and how to function. That's a very convenient backstory, and of course you have a little sister that you can never forget, Delcorin. No matter how hard you try, or how hard she hits you with a frying pan. Wait, did I say Warhammer 40k? Yeah, Dark Heresy and Rogue Trader are 40k RPGs. I've run both. Derek says, not really there, Grimdark. Used to run Black Crusade until it was poisoned for me to the point where I refused to play it. Oh, that sounds like a story. What happened with that, Derek? Sarai is continuing to tell us the tale. The tale of her and Awe. And Bubonek's obligatory Go Eldar. Oh, by the way, Derek, Rowmonger, Bubonic is his automatic response is go Eldar to 40k stuff, and Rowmonger does play a lot of 40k, and he only just started D&D, so he does a lot of modeling, and he has a lot of experience with 40k stuff. So he's a person who can give some input on that. Okay, which kind of a hermit were we? We were an 8. I was a pilgrim in search of a person, place, or relic of spiritual significance. All right, that's a little bit long for this line, so we're going to keep it at 8 and keep that in mind. She was in search of someone or something important, of spiritual importance at that. We are going to get medicine and religion. We will get a tool proficiency in herbalism. We will get a language of our choice, so we will get common, orc, and a placeholder. An equipment, scroll case with notes, winter blanket, common clothies, herbalism kit, and 5 gold. It doesn't really pay to live outside of society. Oh, geez. No, that's fine, Derek. I'm not saying that to discourage you. I love having robust conversations. So, yeah, if you need a snack, that's fine. I'm going to be taking a break when we finish this character up, too. Inquisition or backwater scum, says Bubonic. Soraya managed to outmaneuver her and pinned her down. Okay, so this is after the approach. I told her to leave once more and led the pack away. Did we come to the conclusion she's my half-sister? I don't know if we ever discussed that, Delcorin. She might be? Do you want her to be? I don't really know. I don't remember us talking about her only being a half-sibling. But that stuff happens. Her feature is a discovery. This is a very good seed for a DM to use in the adventure. The quiet seclusion of your extended hermitage gave you access to a unique and powerful discovery. The exact nature of this revelation depends on the nature of your seclusion. It might be a great truth about the cosmos, the deities, the powerful beings of the outer planes, or the forces of nature. It could be a sight that no one else has ever seen. You might have uncovered a fact that has been long forgotten, or unearthed some relic of the past that could rewrite history. Or solve a mystery. DuckTales. Ooh, ooh. It might be information that would be damaging to the people who or consigned you to exile, and hence the reason for your return to society. Work with your DM to determine the details. Derek says, I'm apologizing ahead of time. I'm just going to be mass typing from this point. Oh, okay. No, that's fine, Derek. I'm interested to get your point of view. She's a warlock, so I'm thinking we had different fathers. Okay, Babacus. Oh yeah. So Derek, if you do join us on Discord, we do have a section. You can type it in chat, but we do have an area too. If you want to share it, it's you can put that under Tales from the Tabletop, and that might be a little bit more lenient than Twitch chat if you do have kind of an explanation of what you have going. So please do feel free to join us there if you have a Discord account. That'd be an awesome place for it. You can share it here as well. Just make sure to give me breaks to be able to read it and for everyone else to respond if they wanted to as well. Okay, so we have a pure DM seed for the story here. Your character will have an impact very directly. We're going to get a couple other things here. We got to fill in our personality traits. A 4 and a 5. I feel tremendous empathy for all who suffer. And 5 is I'm oblivious to... Whoop, I definitely ham-handed that. To etiquette and social expectations. So if you're on the elevator with her, she will fart in the elevator, but she will feel very sorry for your suffering. Ideals is 4. Power. Solitude and contemplation are paths toward mystical or magical power. While that does carry evil in the descriptor, that doesn't have to just be an evil ideal. This could still work for a neutral good character in the way that we build her. Dark Wolf is continuing kind of the adventures of Soraya and Year Zero. Eventually, Sherman wore me out. I was tired of leading the pack away from her, so I allowed her to join us. You say it's so dull-like, pouts. Then little smile. Whatever. After I don't like telling stories. Bubonic. I loved Warhammer Fantasy 2nd Edition. I have a copy of it ages ago. You know, I think I have a copy of was it the last one they put out? They had some custom dice, and I really loved that it was very narrative. Like, we didn't really get into the micromanagement of combat. It was very talkative. You had some unique dice to roll. They were standard shapes, but they had different patterns on it, not necessarily numbers. Oh, unless you're not talking about the role-playing game. Are you just talking about the miniatures, Bubonic? Okay, bonds are on the next page. Nothing is more important than the other members of my hermitage, order, or association. So here, just by making this character, we're bringing more elements into the world. It's giving our DM, remember we're PCs right now, it's giving our DM more things to think about and incorporate. Flaws. 6. I like keeping secrets and won't share them with anyone. Original character, no steal. You were nothing like father. Father was not dull, says And Sarai says, I'm not your parent. Oh, yeah, and Sten swishes tail as she's listening. For anyone new to the broadcast here, we're having a little bit of character revelation going on in chat, and Sten, who is Rowmonger's character, was a male dwarf until a fateful encounter with the Deck of Many Things, not the one that you can play down below in the chat commands. But in Rose game, and we now have a female tiefling Sten, who apparently is getting used to her tail and enjoying swishing it. Okay, what else do we have here? All right, so this is the frame, and remember, while it was a lot to write, Hermit Origin 8. You know, what kind of life of seclusion? I was a pilgrim in search of a person, place, or relic of spiritual significance. Now that we have this, we're going to zap up to races, go to Half-Orc, and fill in some traits. 30 speed, strength score increases by 2. There we go. Con score increases by 1. We do have dark vision. 60 feet. We do get training in the intimidation skill, as we are menacing. Relentless endurance. There we go. Savage attacks. You know, she can write some songs in Orcish. That would be interesting. Not to be confused with Orcus. Excellent. Now, let's pop down to our classes. Dun, 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 dun. There's Bard. We're going to get 1d8 hit dice per level. So we have 6d8. Bubonic says, actually, it's not so much sci-fi games I like the most, but post-apocalyptic games. Okay. Dark Wolf says swishing is the best. Yeah. Hey, oh, Peru, you taking off? Or, oh no, Kitty's going to bed. All right. Night, Kitty / See you later. We do get proficiency with light armor. Simple. Hand crossbows. Long and short swords. And rapiers. We are also going to get 3 instruments of some kind of our choice. And so I will, as we're building this character, you all have input. This isn't just my character or a random character. These are our characters that we're developing. So if you have some insight, if she's reminding you of someone, or you're seeing a pattern, please feel free to list what's giving you that vibe. Fallout Tabletop would be amazing. Vault 13 forever, says Romonger. Oh yeah, Dark Wolf is trying to flaunt her Dragonborn tail. Let's see. Dexterity and Charisma are our biggies. And we get to choose any 3 skills. Well, if this has spiritual significance, she already has religion. She's trying to uncover a secret. So maybe investigation and history would be good. As well. She's living out. She could be a part of an organization or a hermitage. She could have been on her own. She's not necessarily the persuasive type. She does like keeping secrets and won't share them, so maybe deception would be really good to try that. Solitude and contemplation, yeah. I mean, we're going to get some more training, so we can put in more skills as well. Careful, Ro, you're going to get hypnotized if it just keeps going back and forth like that. War drum is one of those instruments, and survival, you think? I can put in some kind of a drum, and I'll, when we get to the other skills, survival I think would be a part of that. Yeah. You wish bagpipe was one while playing it has a well, we can give her a bagpipe or something akin to it, if maybe even like a squeeze box or something along those lines. Please swish responsibly. Okay, she's going to start with a rapier, a longsword, or any simple weapon. We're almost going to have like a well-rounded bard, right? Because constitution and strength are, usually not the highest areas that bards focus on. Though longswords, I mean, that can allow for strength because it's not a finesse weapon. I was thinking longsword because she's probably going to be more. She's going to have more strength than dexterity. We have a longsword. Probably going for the diplomatic pack of some kind. Simply because it has a lot more paper and writing stuff and some candles and whatnot that she'd be using in her meditations. A lute or other musical instrument. So some kind of a musical instrument. Leather armor and a dagger. There we go. She's half-orc. She can be a strength bard. Yep, that is correct, King. King, do watch out. There's some tail swishing going on. We have a dragonborn swishing her tail, and we have a tiefling swishing her tail. It's kind of like syncing up in metronome. It's not that some combinations are bad. It's just that they aren't optimal in an otherwise optimized party. I do agree with you, King. Done. Sorry that took so long. No problem, Macabre. So on Discord, Derek here, Derek is sharing a story in his about why he burnt out on a Black Crusade RPG, which focuses on the Warhammer 40k universe and the forces of chaos in there. King will get the decision, put an end to this tail nonsense. Use a pair of clubs and call them drumsticks. that could be interesting. Carrot snake to row. Let's see real quick what do we have going on here. I will So the short version, I ended up finally getting to play. We overtook a cruiser, and I was on my way to corrupting and luring the captain and crew for chaos, being an acolyte of Slaanesh. Here's the problem. I had to deal with a heretic of Nurgle who was obsessed with keeping the gun to everyone's head, the party most of all, and he was egging on completely over Tabletop, the Khorne Space Marine. Now, the Khorne Space Marine is somewhere in the engine room killing everyone because, of course, Khorne does not suffer fools and is perfectly fine with him actually hindering actions of war at all time. Now, I am the only character who can actually talk themselves out of a paper bag, so I thought things were going well. Half my issues came from everyone at the table was playing Chaos Marines as frat boys with chainswords, which comes up. Suffice it to say, there's a lot of decks between my discussions with the captain, and I'm making great progress. But out of nowhere, the Khornite decides, quote, I chopped the head off the captain, unquote. Now he's now he's nowhere near the location. He was busy doing something else, but because I was on my fourth line of dialogue and something didn't die, he figured killing the captain would keep up his quota, his actual words, and that was a quote. GM had him roll damage and kill the captain. So I figured I would get the situation under control by going to the second in command, but before I could finish my first question of where is, he takes a bolt pistol to shoot out the window to cause decompression and kill everyone in the bridge. I barely make the check and the command crew goes out the window. So now we don't have a way to corrupt the others, of course, since none of the crew saw the Inquisitor on board actually die. The reason we're there in the first place. The crew is now fighting us tooth and nail. In total of 8 hours of play, I literally got 14 lines of dialogue in, and over 3/4 of my checks were my rolling because the other players are trying to get myself inadvertently killed. At the end of the session, we don't have a crew to actually use the ship, and now we had to clear out deck by deck. We're now stuck on a derelict ship. So, of course, the heretic finds the escape pod, and the whole thing ends with us not catching the fact he placed det packs in the other pods. And yet, somehow that Khornite survived the pod exploding and grappled onto the heretic's escape pod. That now has that's how the session ended, and that's the last time I ever played Black Crusade. Whew. Well, I understand why that could be the case. I don't know, man. That kind of sounds like your GM should have had more control in the situation, or realized that some of the players were being that guys. And this also does kind of show why evil parties aren't. It takes a good player to play an evil character, because then it just turns into a lol random murder hobo fest and nothing gets done, and it just is. It's kind of how that went. So I appreciate you sharing your tale, and I'm sorry you had that frustration, Derek. But it is a bit of a cautionary tale for the rest of us about, how things can go or go wrong. King says, "Yeah, I like trophies mount on my wall. Make a Christmas wreath out of it, or an impromptu flail." King suffered that same thing in 3.5 online games. Nothing like the DM updating a shoddy MS Paint map every turn. That sounds like a lot how like Black Crusade went. And then resending it to everyone. Is that Queen in Chains yet, or are you still slacking off? Bobicus. Games on Thursday. Oh, so King and Bobicus are talking about another game that maybe they can fill you in on. But Bobicus is at kind of a big. Bobicus is on a moral tipping point about which kind of an action to take and whose organization he should favor, or rather the ramifications of that decision. So if he wants to fill you all in on that, I'll let him. But that's the back end of things. Romonger Slanesh, my force halberd starts to glow and hatred flows through my soul. I am the hammer. No, all of his players were that guy. All the players were those guys. Oh my gosh. Or switch the dex and int, says Bubonic. So yeah, we're kind of building a a strength bard. Oh, jeez, Derek. I'm sorry you're doing that. Bubonic, all right, so you know what? I'll take your suggestion, Bubonic, and we'll see how this plays out. Bubonic is saying we go 14, 12, 13, 10, 8, and 15. Then we add in our racial modifiers, so we have a 16 strength and a 14 con. This is going to be a beefy bard. Bobka says, I like to play the political game. It ain't about the morality. It's about... Well, okay, yeah, I'm sorry if I misconstrued that, Bobicus. That guy is why I don't play 40k any longer. Yeah, you were talking that some of the people in your shop were getting kind of toxic, or that the shop... like, was it the population, or was the store owner not enforcing... not like kicking people out who are creating a negative play environment, or what was going on there? Because certainly as a game store owner, my philosophy is I would rather lose the person spending $1,000 a month in my store if he's being a big butt, to put it PG-13, and preserve everyone else, than to have a negative play environment and get the reputation for that. That's how I like to play. Rare to find GMs that will actually get excited over actually get excited over that. Bobicus, yeah, you got to win the legacy game. You got to have your pieces standing at the end. Okay, Derek, I got you. Well, it was a Games Workshop, so they were trying to keep the plastic arms race going. Yeah, that's... Games Workshops are game stores, but not all game stores are that model, where it's more of a concentration on the sales aspect, rather than as more like a community center. She plays her drums or bagpipes while entering battle to both inspire her allies and scare the hell out of enemies. We still need one more instrument to give her, too. Okay. She is not College of War, though, Bubonic. I know while that would seemingly fit, we did roll her lore. That's our equipment. Spellcasting, we will get to that in just a second here. We do get to address one ability score increase for her because she's level 6. So we should probably probably dump it into Charisma. Put her at 17. That's going to give her 3, 1, 2, 0. Interesting to have Wisdom be a dump stat. Nothing necessarily wrong with it. It's just interesting to see. All right. We are going to get Bardic Inspiration. She's going to be a Jill of all trades. Song of Rest. We will get our Bard College. We are also going to get expertise in 2 skill proficiencies. So we need to determine which 2 skills she's going to have expertise in. Although we're going to get a couple more skills from our Bardic College, so hang on to that thought. Font of Inspiration. If any of you in chat need me to do more than just put the title of the feature, let me know. You can read over here, but if you need me to go back, please tell me. And Counter Charm. Derek says that's why I typically stick to Vampire the Masquerade. The player base is something I can work with a lot more. D&D, it's kind of hit or miss. I find actually really fresh players actually are better than the ones saying that they've been playing it for a few years. I'm having to rewrite my hard writing to min-max everything. Really, you like new players to MKR seasoned ones? I'm not sure what MKR is. Yeah. She could be like a guardian of the College of Lore, Bubonic. Or she was sent out to do like individual training, and that was her hermitage. So this could be, she's actually like she's coming back from her training in order to protect the college or something along those lines. When a seasoned broken player is broken, you generally can't fix them. Oh, that's the old dog, new tricks kind of a thing. College of Lore. Okay, we get some bonus proficiencies. We gain 3 skills. Bubonic, I think, said survival, which I would agree with. And we should probably do something like athletics as some kind of a survival technique. And then she feels empathy for all who suffer. So that's probably insight would be a good one too, which would be interesting because yes, she does have dump in wisdom, but this proficiency would at least make her somewhat good at it, and it would fit her personality trait. And the fact she's oblivious to etiquette and social expectations might be definitely like a low wisdom for insight or something along those lines. I'd argue not perception, Bubonic, simply because as a hermit, she's not necessarily been in duress, right? If she doesn't need to be wise, there's something that's provided for her, or her life is a little easier, that survival may be necessary, but she doesn't have to do more than just study or focus on the things that she's doing. Okay, those are the skills that we're getting for her. We do get cutting words. And at 6th level, we get additional magical secrets. At 6th level, you learn 2 spells of your choice from any class. A spell you choose must be of a level you can cast. Okay, I'm going to come back to that because we're not going to do her spells this session. In fact, now that everything's settled, it should be pretty easy to fill that in. I've gone almost about 2 hours now, so I'm going to get up and I'm going to take a break. I'm going to stretch, get some tea. She's going to be saved as a work in progress, and we'll continue on from there. So, I mean, you all can keep chatting. It's awesome. There's a lot of positive energy going on, shared stories, cautionary tales. Keep it up, and I will return 5 or 10 minutes from here, and we'll get going into more ideas and more discussion.